my soul rest in your embrace, for I am yours. You are mine.
Okay, ready for it? Let's go. Oh gosh. All right, you ready for this?
Let's go.
Okay. Holy Monday, day number 2, retreat day, dose, here we go. Father Jorge, we're here, classroom.
Yes, this is exciting.
We didn't really explain it yesterday. What is a retreat? Well, we're trying to make these kind of like little homilies or little classroom visits. I personally miss preaching to our grade school masses, and I miss the classroom visits.
I know, that's my favorite, one of my favorite things to do, to preach to our grade schoolers, to come to visit them at lunch. It's one of my joys. So I miss all of you, just so you know.
So we thought we'd do this as a substitute, best we can do. So for Holy Week, anyways, Father Jorge, what are we talking about today?
We're going to talk about confession. Many of you have heard me say this, but confession is one of my favorite sacraments. As a priest, but also because if it was not because of the sacrament of confession, I would not be a priest right now. The graces that we receive when we go to confession are unthinkable. There's so many graces that we all receive. I remember one story when I first got ordained 3 years ago. One of my sisters asked me, so when you go to confession, how do you go to confession? You just stand in the front of the mirror and just say your sins to yourself? I told her, no, I have to go through the same embarrassment. And I have to call my brother priest and I have to make my confession like the rest of the people. But it is a beautiful thing, because when we do something bad, there's some type of shame or we're scared of something. But remember, when we go to confession, it is Jesus, the one who is listening to our sins. Sometimes we may think, Father Levens, that it is another human being. I don't want the other person to know what I'm struggling with. I don't want the other person to know what my sins are. But it is Jesus, the one who receives our sins. He receives them, and in return, he gives us his love, his mercy, his healing, his forgiveness. Just think of this. One of my favorite pictures is that of the priest and then the penitent, and then Jesus is behind the priest. And actually, Jesus is directing the priest during the absolution. When the priest pronounces the words of absolution, it is Jesus himself, the one who is forgiving the sins. And that's powerful. When I walk into the confessional, that's the image that I have in my mind. That it is Jesus, the one who receives those sins, and in return, he says, I love you, Father Jorge. It doesn't matter. I love you and I forgive you and I give you another opportunity. So we have the same opportunity every single time when we go to the confession. So
that's beautiful. That is amazing. Wow. When I think of confession, especially right now, we live in a world that says, wash your hands, use a lot of Germ-X, get rid of it. There you go. Good man. All right. Right. We're so worried about our personal hygiene, and we're so worried about, getting rid of all those germs, staying healthy. What about our soul? That's what confession does for our soul. It cleanses us, it wipes away the sins, it makes us pure white again. And so that's what I think of when I think of confession. And I guess my story is, I remember my first confession and walking out of confession, and I felt like I was floating on a cloud. Just every weight had been lifted off my shoulder, and it was amazing. I felt like I could float. And I still get that feeling. I don't know if you do or not.
Every single time when you walk out of the confessional, I'm like, okay, I can go now the extra mile, and I can begin again. And remember, all we need in order to persevere in God's grace is his grace. Even St. Paul tells us, all we need is God's grace. And that's why we come to this sacrament, because we need his grace. Everyone.
Yes.
Of us. So,
hey, here's the challenge for today. The challenge for today is to go to confession this week. It's Holy Week, go to confession. We're still here. I'm going to be in the confessional. Father Jorge's going to be in the confessional. Father Jerome will be in the confessional. Go to confession sometime this week. I'm going to be going to Father PJ. So if you're watching this, Father PJ, I'll be coming your way today or tomorrow to make my Holy Week confession. Father Jorge, you going to go to confession this week?
I just went to confession yesterday.
There's a halo around his head. I was wondering. So that's the challenge. Go to confession. And then we'll see you tomorrow.
All right. God bless.